Wall-to-wall carpeting only became common in houses during the 20th century when the technology to make it cheaply and also the technology to clean it relatively easily, vacuums, made it much more practical than it had been in former times. In the old days, you had to uproot the entire carpet and take it outside to be beaten or scrubbed, while the wood floors underneath were swept and washed. Routine cleaning of a carpet would have usually been done by servants while the family was away on vacation. Nowadays, a lot of people have carpets, and in many cases they're seen as a cheaper type of flooring than bare wood or tile. However, when dealing with traditional magic spells and hoodoo rituals, this can become a bit of a special encumbrance. Instructions for floor sweeps, floor washes, and the use of colored sachet powders becomes an issue on a carpeted floor, whilst it is not an issue on a wood or tile floor. Most traditional hoodoo cleaning and drawing rituals were made for older lifestyles and thus assume you got floorboards. And not just any floorboards either, the kind that can be mopped, swept, sprinkled, doused, and scrubbed, and sometimes even scratched a little if it comes to that. The floor of the house is the interface between you and the world, where what you track in can be tracked right back out, and where the energies, good or bad, tend to settle. So it makes sense that many conjure operations start from the ground up, literally. But what if you live in a carpeted apartment, or a dorm room, or your floors are tile or laminate or rented in beige and installed by someone who clearly never expected anyone to live with magic? There is no need to abandon floor work just because you don't have a bucket and a pine wood plank. Here's how to adapt the main types of floor-based hoodoo workings, washes, sweeps, and powders, to the realities of modern carpeted life. The point of a floor wash is not to make the room smell good, although that's nice, nor even to sanitize it, although that might be needed. It's a spiritual action. The wash is meant to leave a trace of itself, herbs, minerals, spiritual fluid that shifts the tone of the house, to cleanse, to bless, to draw luck, or love, or business, to banish. But you can't mop a carpet. Solution A. Use a carpet powder instead. You can make a carpet-safe version of a spiritual floor wash by taking the same fragrance base, for example Van Peace Water Uncrossing, and using it to scent cornstarch, baking soda, or talcum powder. You can also use sachet powder directly if the color won't show, but be mindful when using colored powders on light rugs as they can stain. Sprinkle this lightly over the carpet, allow it to sit for about 30 minutes while you speak your prayers or intentions, and then vacuum it up. You can go inward to draw in energy, outward to drive out, or toward the front door for general cleansing. Solution B. Use a room spray. Many of the same formulas used for floor wash can be turned into a room spray. Dilute your floor wash in a spray bottle or use spiritual colognes like Florida water or Hoyt's cologne as the base. Spritz around the perimeter of the carpet or the whole room. Go clockwise if drawing, counterclockwise if cleansing or banishing. You may even wipe gently with a cloth around the baseboards, no full mop needed. Solution C. Mop the bare floor parts. If your space includes mixed flooring, you can still perform a wash on the non-carpeted areas and symbolically extend it into the rest of the space. Some people will anoint their vacuum cleaner wheels or door thresholds to extend the wash's effect. Solution D. Skip the cleaning and use the room. For this, you don't need to vacuum or anything unless you wish to. Instead, you simply sprinkle a pinch of sachet powder into each of the corners of the room or of the house. Another way of tackling the issue is to use herbal mixtures. These sometimes can be quantities of a single dried herb, cut or powdered, though on other occasions they might be special blends sold by suppliers or mixed at home, such as 13 herb bath. These kinds of mixtures were meant to be scattered and then swept, a way of spiritually dusting the room before collecting and discarding the dust and mess with intention. With carpeted floors, it's a little different, but not impossible. Herbal carpet sprinkle. Lightly scatter your herbal blend over the carpet. You can use a mixture of dried herbs according to the working. For example, basil and alfalfa for money, lemon peel and hyssop for cleansing, etc., etc. Speak your intent while you scatter. Let the herbs rest on the floor while you pray or do the rest of your working. Then vacuum them up with intention, knowing you are removing obstacles or setting the tone for incoming blessings. Note: don't use sticky resins, fresh wet herbs, staining ingredients such as alkanet or turmeric, or anything you wouldn't want in your vacuum. You want something that will leave a spiritual trace, not a literal one the landlord will charge you for. The goal of Hoodoo isn't to recreate an antique southern household, it's to get results. Adaptation is part of the tradition. You use what you've got and you make it work, and in today's world that often means working on carpet in apartments where you can't even burn incense, let alone scrub the floorboards with red brick dust. So make your blends, say your prayers, and plug in the vacuum. The spirits know what you're doing, and if you want to be thorough, clean out the vacuum afterward. Who knows what you just swept up? The end.